Hey, it's Jason with Jams.net, cars, DIY, and adventures, and today we're going to do a little DIY project, a very easy DIY project. It's going to require 5 seconds, maybe 60 seconds. You have closets. This is a house that was built in the late 80s. It's where we live. This is a coat closet. In the winter, you open it up, and it will be dark in here, presumably. There is no electrical. I could run electrical to this one because there is access behind it, but my pantry has no easy way to get electrical in here without a ton of drilling, snaking, and tapping into that light. I don't want to deal with all that, but I would like light to be in here, motion activated, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this in less than a minute, very cheap. Stay tuned and find out. Now, I do want to say this is a sponsored video, meaning I wanted to do the install, but I did not have to pay for the lights. These lights you can get on Amazon. They are $25, and it's produced by a company in China, which a lot of these LED lights are Chinese produced. Even if you go to the big box stores, chances are they're going to be Chinese produced. And the company is called Yurnero, and Yurnero produces these rechargeable motion sensor lights. They have a remote, and you can basically force them to come on with the remote, or you can use the motion sensor, and you can also adjust the brightness and a few other settings on it. This is what I'm going to use. It's 25 bucks, a whole lot cheaper than me running wiring. We know how expensive that is nowadays, and it's quick and easy. Now, you're saying rechargeable, you're probably thinking what I'm thinking. How long is it going to last? I don't honestly know. This pantry's opened, frequently, but in terms of it being dark out, which is when I think it will come on, not so much. So I'm going to give this a test, and I'm going to install it, and I'll report back. Does it last weeks, months? I'm hoping it lasts a couple months based on the usage and the motion sensor. Again, 25 bucks on Amazon. I don't think you can beat it. Worth a shot. Let me unpackage it and show you how we're going to install it. Okay. This is the rechargeable motion sensor light with remote, 25 bucks, Chinese manufactured. It comes with the light. It comes with some instructions, which are probably the settings and whatnot. When I got these, I already had fully charged them. They came with the charge, but I went ahead and charged them up even more. It comes with the mounting bracket. This is going to be very similar to what you would see with like a fire smoke sensor, smoke detector. It was wrapped in that. And then you get the controller, the USB-C charger, and some mounting hardware. Now, I would say I absolutely do appreciate that these are USB-C. It's not some proprietary charger. All of my Android devices run off of it. So these chargers are floating around everywhere in my house. So when you mount it, you're basically going to have this on the ceiling. You put it in, and it locks in. That's how it will mount. You want to click it. I did not have it clicked a second ago. And it's just going to mount, and then you twist it, right? And when you twist it, that's going to allow it to come off, just like a smoke detector. It has a little motion sensor here and an on-off switch. You can see the light spectrum here is seems decent. Well, it's only going to cut on if it's dark out, so that will give you a sense of what it's looking like. And then with the controller here, I've already opened this one up, and you can pull the little thingy-majigger, and it lets you cut it on. It lets you cut it off. It lets you say turn off after 20 minutes, I think it is. Maybe it's 20 seconds. You can adjust the brightness up and down. And you can adjust the light color from 6,000 to 3,000. So you can see how it's getting like more blue to more of the natural type of light and you can cut it off. So put it on easy. Now, you probably don't want to lose this controller because there's no way on the actual light to adjust the settings. So make sure you put the controller somewhere that you're not going to lose it. Might not even be a bad idea to double side tape it if it's mounted and you can't see it. I'm going to put this in the pantry upstairs and I'll put this in the junk drawer. Hopefully we don't lose it. What are my first impressions of this light? Well, so far my first impressions are it's lightweight, which is good. You don't want something super heavy. It's just like you would be installing a smoke detector. It comes with the controller. It comes with some mounting hardware. I mean, for 25 bucks, I think it does its job. If this was to fall on a hard floor, it's probably going to crack and probably going to break, but you know, what do you want it made out of? Metal? It's the battery is 7,000 mAh, 5 charging volts, and it takes 12 hours to charge. And it took every bit of 12 hours. I'll tell you that right now. I plugged it in at night and I woke up and it was still red. When it's charging, it turns green, a little LED light, and when it's charging and needs more charge, it stays illuminated red. So when it turns green, you know it's charged. For 25 bucks, I don't think it's terrible. I've seen cheaper options, but they're much smaller. They're about as big as this. I think the bigger size definitely means you have more area for a battery. So I feel like it's going to give me more of a charging. So I don't think I'll be disappointed by the price if I did pay for this and they didn't send it to me to test. Aesthetically, we live in a contemporary home. Like, I wouldn't want this to just be hanging from the ceiling where you can notice it. I think the install in the pantry, under a cabinet, in a closet, absolutely fantastic options. You could even put this in like a toolbox under the shelf, and when you're working, it would cut on. I think this would look super cool under like a platform of a step. So if you're coming into the house and the steps, like we have exposed steps, you wouldn't see it, but it would cut on and provide some illumination. I'm probably gonna put one of them, I got 3 of them. I'm probably gonna put one in my son's bedroom. I think he'll like cutting it on and off with the, I have it off here, cutting it on and off with the controller. And maybe put it like under his bunk bed or something like that. Enough of me yapping, let's talk about the install. Now the install can't get much easier. You have this plastic mechanism and they gave hardware to install it. They gave 2 little tiny screws here and the anchors that you can sink in drywall. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not gonna use the anchors. This just isn't that heavy. I would recommend if you do the install, use the anchors, but you know, if you use anchors, it puts a bigger hole in the wall and then you screw the screw into the anchor. I'm gonna go ahead and just use some of my drywall screws that I know darn well are gonna hold this just fine. I went and got a few out of my toolbox. Just a standard black screw. This is gonna really bite into the drywall and it's gonna allow me to just mount it like so. It's gonna actually go that way. So, you know, you use your best judgment on your install. I know what I'm mounting it into in my closet. This is going to be perfect, and it's not going to have any issues. If you're doing it, you know, not a bad idea to use anchors, but that's going to be up to you how you do it. I just don't want to have 2 big ankle holes in the event I need to remove this. This is just a really easy patch for me. So again, best practice, use what they provide, but you know your house, you know your install. Make an adjustment if you need to. I'm going to put this on the ceiling like so. When it's on the ceiling, I'm going to just, and then I'm going to screw it in. Pretty easy. Doesn't get much easier than that. Let me show you. I'm going to use my screw gun, make this job easy. I'm going to cut it down low so I don't over tighten it and do something crazy. I can basically hold it shut. Variable speed, that's a good thing. You're going to want to mark where you want it. I'm going dead center into this. It's going to be at the top. So I have, there's actually some marks here from food hitting. I have an idea of where I'm going to put it. So I'm going to be able to just kind of eyeball on this install, especially because I can reach this. I don't need to get on a ladder or anything. Now, the only tip I really have for you here is the on-off button is on this side. So whenever you do mount it, you probably want the on-off button. I don't want to see it right when I open the cabinet, but I want to be able to access it. So I'm going to want to make sure that my on-off button faces that way. And this is ultimately how the install is going to look. Pretty clean, pretty nice. I think that's a really good use of it. So knowing that I want it like that, I do want to make sure that my little tabs are going to line up. So what I mean is I'm going to lock this into place like so, and I'm going to position this. And what I can say is to have the on-off button on that side, I'm going to want the diagonal bolt facing me. So I'm going to want it basically coming this way. And then I know it will clasp exactly where I ultimately want the on-off switch. So to elaborate on that, I don't want to install this against the ceiling like that. It would be this way. I know it needs to be like that to get the on-off switch on the left or the right. If I do it like that, the on-off switch would either be in the front or the back, which is absolutely not what I want. So then I just have to take my screw, this is going to be the bottom part, and just screw it up. I mean, again, pretty darn easy install here, which is a benefit of this. That's it. I have it lined up exactly where I want it. I have the benefit of these scratches here, so that kind of gave me a guide, but that basically puts me right in the middle of the pantry. So now I would take the light, I will cut it on, and then I will position it up here like so, and give it a little twist. I gotta make sure I'm getting it aligned exactly how I want it. I can tell you right now, I've already seen one thing I need to do. Just putting the screw in the center, it's gonna make it slide because you can only get that thing so tight. So I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put one more screw in this bad boy in the back, and that's gonna allow it to sit. Same type of screw that I have been using. I anticipated needing two. That's why I have two in my pocket. I was just trying to get away with not having to have any more screws than I needed. There we go. Now they give you a little washer as well, which can be handy because you may need that on if you have to use the two screws like I just demonstrated. That's it. It's on. It's mounted. Looks pretty good. Okay, you can see it's installed. The switch is exactly what I wanted. It's on the on position, but since it is light out, I'm going to force it to turn on, and you can get kind of an idea of how this looks. I think that's pretty darn slick, and it's mounted really nice. It's not going to fall off or go anywhere. I'm going to cut it back off, and then as I understand it, if it's dark out, it should cut on with motion. I'm trying to show you how this will look. So I will go ahead and install the next one, and then once it gets dark out, we'll test it and see how it looks. And just to review these instructions with you, it talks about the application. It says it will last over 30,000 hours. I imagine that means the LED light, not the actual charge. Remote control, click to turn on, click to turn off. Click to switch the remote control mode to remotely turn on the lights and adjust the temperature. Click to switch to sensor mode to remotely turn on and off. So this here will give you the sensor mode. The remote control will allow you to cut it on and off. And then it gives you a little bit of information about brightness and what you can do. So pretty easy, and it does come with a 2-year warranty. And I'll say, I'd used these warranties on some of these Chinese lights before, and they just ask you to send a picture of it and ask where you got it from, and they send you a brand new one in like a couple of days. But click the switch to the sensor mode to remotely turn it off and adjust the color. It will automatically light up when motion is detected at night and turn off after 20 seconds. So that is absolutely what my goal of this is. Okay, so I have one installed in the coat closet as well. You can see how that looks. And this LED bulb, instead of it being like one LED stream coming down, it kind of disperses the light, which is nice. So it looks like an actual light versus an LED spotlight. Yeah. But I have one in the pantry downstairs, in utility closet, where it's dark so you can see how it functions. So these, when it's set to motion sensor, it's only going to come on when it's dark out. So like in here, you walk in, and it's going to cut on. Now that's going to be facing down, but let me shut this door. And you can see how this light looks. And here, I'm going to actually have this one facing down like that. So that will give you an idea of how it will look. Now I want to give you a few tips on this controller because the instructions were confusing me. So when you get the controller, the first thing I would recommend you do is click it on, and then I went to remote control, and then I increased the brightness all the way up, and then I hit motion sensor. So then it was like, okay, I'm gonna work when it detects motion. Otherwise, it's just going to be controlled via the on and off button. So this will cut off in 20 seconds. And then once it's off, when you go in, it's going to detect the motion and it will, you know, basically cut. It will cut back on. So it's off now. I'm walking in, and then it cuts on automatically when it detects. And that's the desired function. I'm going to get this one mounted, but I got to keep charging this one. It's not at a full charge currently. My point being, if you go over here, since it's so light out, it's not going to cut on because it's detecting light. So it's like I don't need to cut on. So what do I think of this light? In applications like this, quick and easy, it takes just a few seconds to install, so I really appreciate that. 25 bucks on Amazon, you have it in a couple days. It would take you, 12 hours to fully charge it. What I really love is it's not just an LED beam of light. It's not just shooting you an LED beam light down. It's actually distributing the light. Yeah, I think it's fairly bright for the size of the light. I like the motion sensitivity aspects. So overall, I'll give it a thumbs up. I think the big deciding factor is going to be how long it lasts. But overall, aesthetically, I think in closet applications and applications like this, it works perfectly fine. It is an indoor light. The motion sensor seems fairly good. And I do like that if you want to control it with on and off, you have the ability to do that. So just remember, you have to hit that, motion sensor button on the controller to make sure that that's on or off or whatever the case is. So thumbs up. I hope this gives you a good idea of kind of the output of light. When it's dark, it's completely dark in here, as you can see. And this is giving me a really nice light stream. I'm not going to keep it here. I just have it here for demonstration purposes so you can see it behind me versus, trying to film like this and show it up above or something. So be sure to give Jams.net a subscribe on YouTube. DIYs, cars, and adventures. You're going to see all kinds of cool stuff like this, plus a lot of our DIY projects on our cars and beyond. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon.